What's good? What's good? We are back. Another episode of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. About to take you back into the world of bare knuckle. My next guest is originally born in Long Island, New York, and now fights out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, which isn't too far from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And he's a former Bantamweight champ and has over 30 pro fights on his resume and a 4-1 record in the BKSC. Let's bring him on, the one and only Keith, the Rockstar Richardson.
What's going on,
Keith,
brother?
what's good, man? How you doing?
I'm doing
Yeah,
good. How
you
about
ain't too far
yourself?
from me, man. I'm actually in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, I spent some time out that way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have, and that's where I want to start. Your military background. So I want to start there. You were in the Marines, combat vet. What was that experience like for you?
Um, I always like to use the old uh Oliver Twist line. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I met some of my best brothers that anybody could ever ask for when I was in the Marine Corps. I had some incredible experiences, experiences that few people will ever have in their life. But there were definitely some downsides. Lost a lot of friends.
Sorry to
Yeah,
hear that.
but it was. I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. It's definitely made me who I am. It's the reason why I think I'm one of the most mentally tough individuals in combat sports. It was it it's a life-changing experience, going to war, leading Marines in combat. I love being Marine, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of in my life.
And you just had a little reunion. How was that?
Man, it's always great to see those crazy dudes. Yeah, we've gotten the reunions are always a little bit of crazy whenever you get a bunch of Marines alcohol together. But they've definitely settled down like the last couple of years. Yeah, I remember some of the Marine reunions when we were in our 20s, and there was a lot of police intervention and damage and destruction to ourselves and property.
That's crazy. So did you get right into like mixed martial arts right when you got out of the Marines?
It was pretty shortly after that. At first, I was having a lot of PTSD issues and stuff like that. And really, as soon as I found MMA and combat sports in general, because I was state champ wrestler, and I passed up a wrestling scholarship to go to the Marine Corps. Um, so once I started training, though, it immediately became my therapy, and it was just completely changed everything, calm me down a little bit, give me a positive, positive, just like a positive thing to do, instead of self-destructing.
Now, what were some of the things that you learned in the Marines that you carried over to the MMA?
Um, Definitely the biggest mental toughness. I, I've had so many close calls with death. I've lost friends and then had to go on patrol the next day, doing the
Damn.
same thing that we just lost them doing. I know I can't be mentally broken because of that. That's a big reason why, why I was able to fight only a week after I lost my father.
Damn.
Because and my dad told me you're still fighting. Like so it just that's definitely the biggest thing. Plus also just um attention to detail when it comes to certain things, always being on alert and trying to break things down, making sure that you're watching everything that's going on. It definitely helps when you're trying to break down fights, break down fighters, and kind of helps with just fight IQ, and then just also Yeah, just the ability to stay calm in extreme situations, like you know, especially a bare knuckle fight. Like a bare knuckle fight's the closest thing to a gunfight that I've that I've come across.
Okay. Now for your MMA career, like, was there a fight that just stands out to you?
Um, my MMA career, I'd probably one of my my favorite fights was when I fought Rodrigo Lima from Bellator.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of yeah, it was kind of earlier on, like right in the middle of my MMA career. And it was just one of the fights, like, cause he was highly touted out of Bellator. Um, he was still under contract with Bellator. Like, it was a big fight. I think his record was like 12-2 or 12-1 at the time or something like. So like it was and like and it it was one of those fights, like it was a good like it was a good fight, back and forth a little bit, and then like in the end, like I definitely took over the fight. It was one of those fights where it was just it cemented in my head and also a lot of people's head, like I had that next level talent, like that next level, that ability to compete you know at that next level in the world, like like against world class fighters.
Now, what made you decide to get into the bare knuckle?
um Yeah, it was kind of like I'd definitely been interested, because like that. Well, they had actually been interested in me like way before, like you BKFC 1 or 2.
Okay.
They asked me to be on the card, but I had an MMA fight. But when like first when I was coaching Taylor for her first bare knuckle fight, like I saw what they were doing, and I saw like just the way the fights were, like definitely got the adrenaline spiked, and like I was like, all right, they're on to something, like this is really cool. But really, what made me make the decision was I was just getting frustrated with MMA. I was
Okay.
on like I was on a big win streak, but a lot of the MMA promotion, like a lot of the top tier MMA promotions, just weren't giving me the opportunity. I had gotten signed by the PFL, but then I got signed for the tournament, but then like the guy I was supposed to fight refused to fight me because I was going to be a last minute replacement, and like yeah, um, and then they chose not to re-sign me the next season because I was signed outright. Like they paid me to be an alternate, but I got money to step on a scale, but nah, I'd rather take a fight. Like UFC, like I think they thought I was too old at the time, and it
Yeah.
was just like it was just frustrating because like I had beaten Hunter Azure, and then like right after that, like I submitted him in the second round, and right after that they turned around and he's the #1 pick on the Ultimate Fighter. So I just I was kind of frustrated. So like I figured I figured I'd give this bare knuckle thing a shot. First time I did it, loved it. They've always treated me fairly, and like been really supportive of my career. So it was think it worked out well.
Have you found the transition? It seemed like it was easy for you to go into bare knuckle.
I mean, it's crazy because everybody, like my whole MMA career, everybody always thought of me as a submission guy. And then I mess around and win the bare knuckle boxing world title. But the transition was, I think it's just because of like all the coaching and stuff like that. I'm used to, like I guess I coach boxers, I coach MMA fighters, like and like just making all those mental switches, like in sparring and stuff like that.
Uh
Like
huh.
it makes me very adaptable. Um, like that's part of like how became so good at switching stances and stuff like that. Like because I got to train somebody for a southpaw, so standing southpaw for for the whole camp or something like that. So just like my ring my fight IQ is I think next tier, so it just made the transition pretty easy for me.
Now, I hate to bring up the losses, man, but you just had the match with Alberto Blas. How have you been handling that?
Um, you know, nothing's rougher than winning a world title, but like I said earlier, I'm mentally strong, and like this is one of the things that I've always said about the fight game, it will humble you any chance it gets, and you can either stay humbled or you can get hungry. I'm hungry, I definitely want my title back. You know,
That's
um,
good to hear.
it's just one of those things. Like that's the tough thing about this game. There's nothing worse than taking an L, in front of a packed stadium. There's nothing worse than losing a fight. But it is what it is. He's a tough, talented kid. But
Okay.
yeah, he didn't stop me. Nobody can stop me that night.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that too. Like, so at the end of the match, I mean, you definitely wasn't stopping. You was going at the ref. So did you clearly not know where you were at the time or what was going on?
No, I after the fight, I didn't know. I didn't even know that happened.
Okay.
But like when you watch the video, the ref kind of slid in there,
Yeah, yeah.
in the middle of an exchange, and then as soon as I started coming at him, he made the mistake. Instead of grabbing me and holding me, he started backing up. So I
Okay.
didn't even notice that. I
Yeah.
didn't even really notice that he had kind of slid in there.
Yeah.
So, and if you start backing up, the fighter in me is like, oh, I got him on the ropes now.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, yeah, but yeah, was I, completely there? Hell no. I taking a heavy shot to the temple. It was the first shot, it was the first shot that landed, it landed square in the temple with bare knuckles. They kind of sink in a little bit deeper if you get hit in the temple, and it just kind of had me rocked. But I've been through fights like that before. When me and Scoggins fought, after he dropped me, I don't remember too much of the rounds after that. Freaking and those were some of my best rounds. So I think if he it was kind of a weird stoppage anyway.
Yeah.
If you would have if you wouldn't have restarted it, I still would have been fine with the stoppage, because I wasn't completely, I'd started pawing at him, I wouldn't have. But then when he restarted it, freaking, and then jumped in the middle, it was kind of like a weird stoppage. So I think that kind of, because once I was back into kill mode now, but it just goes to show the level that I train at, where I don't even have to be awake. My body's going to do the right things, because that 1-1-2 switch step 1-1-2 that I threw on him, that was still nice and clean.
Now, have you kinda already game planned of what you would do differently if you have to fight him again?
Yeah, any fighter is going to go over that fight mentally in their head 1,000 times. I know I got a little bit over aggressive. Early on in the fight, I threw two big shots that didn't land cleanly, but they knocked him back against the ropes. I could tell he wasn't he didn't like the power. And then I saw I was after the second time, I kind of looked at him, was like, all right, I got you. And then got over aggressive. I threw a big shot, missed, and he and his landed. Generally, I don't try to force it that much. I think just got kind of swept up in the moment. Wanted to really put him down quickly, and I just got a little over aggressive. It can be difficult, keeping your kill under control. Same thing happened in the Scoggins fight. Like, I dropped him, then I got a little over aggressive, then I got dropped myself. But when I fought like Reggie, first time I dropped him, I just kind of backed off. I was like, all right, you got there, you can get back there. Don't get over aggressive and eat the big shot. Freaking. So I should have just kind of played it out and that was also part of the game plan. That I just got a little amped up. Part of the game plan was try to take him into the deep waters that he hasn't been in yet. He's still hasn't, he still hasn't been out of the first round. He hasn't really been in a war yet. And honestly, I don't think he would really. I don't think he's really built for that type of fighting. He's quick, explosive, powerful.
What do you think is going to take to get another title shot? I mean, are we looking at like you fighting maybe Justin Ibarola or Chris Garcia?
In my mind, I'm probably one fight away.
One fight away? Okay.
I think I don't mind. I don't mind earning my spot back. Yeah.
So maybe like the loser of this match, maybe like Ryan, like if Ryan Reber lost this match, maybe you and Ryan Reber or something.
I'm not the matchmaker that they could put me up against.
Yeah, that's Nate. Yeah, that's Nate's job, right?
Yeah, that's Nate's. He just gotta put the hit on the guy, and the underpaid assassin's gonna show up. I've never been a big call out guy anyway. But
I was just about to ask you that. Do you call people out at all?
No, I've always been I always try to be cool and respectful. Actually, the weigh-ins with Blas was the first time I ever had to push a guy freaking at weigh-ins. It's usually not my style. Usually not.
Well, what did he say to you?
He was just getting in my face, trying to grab at my belt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He trying to grab a little too soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still mine at that point.
Still yours. Yeah. You got to earn it still. Yeah.
But yeah. So it is what it is. I don't care. I expect everybody to do whatever they need to do to be at their best. I want your best. I didn't get into this game for easy fights. I did this to challenge. I do this to challenge myself. I do this for the love of the game. I do this because I'm a bad, crazy mother.
So, who do you think is gonna win between Reber and Blas?
No, it's tough. Here's the thing. Reber's durable. I love Reber to death.
I do too.
He's a good friend of mine. I definitely my heart definitely wants him to win.
Mine too.
But realistically, it's a tough fight, especially Blas definitely has a power advantage. Reber's been hurt early in fights before. I think he's got to be
Perez
real
fight.
cautious.
I mean, Perez fight. He barely made it through that.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the things.
That was a great fight. That was a really great fight.
Yeah, he's another one of those dudes where if he's in the fight, he's in the fight. But
so are people underestimating Blas a little bit?
I don't think too many people, especially in the fight community, are underestimating him.
Okay.
They just don't. Well, I think just not a lot of people know him that much because kind of came out of nowhere. Hadn't had any of the big marquee fights at the time.
Yep.
I was first real hard big name opponent that he's had. So he just kind of and he's fought pretty quickly. Kind of took the same route that I took. I fought 4 times in a year. But I had some big guys on that opponent and some on that come up, and I had some big fights.
is the like the initial move to try to get it over quick though in these fights? I mean, because I've heard the way they explain it is boxing starts out slow and gets fast, and BKFC starts out fast and gets slow.
Um, in a lot of cases, yes. Like it just seems like, especially with the way that the fights are structured.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you definitely want to establish yourself early. Like you can't have the feeling out process that you do in boxing because the rounds are shorter.
Yeah,
Also, cuts are always an issue. Early on
yeah,
you start getting cut up, like because it doesn't take much to cut you with bare knuckles. Like you sit there and play feeling out, and then you you eat a jab, and it's not doesn't even have to be a clean jab. Catches one or two of those little knuckles. It'll cut you quick, and now you're in danger of getting the fight stopped. So a lot of guys choose to plus like a lot of guys just choose to start quicker. Plus there's always that um like that's kind of like a pain pit bull freaking response, because everything in bare knuckle hurts to get hit, hurts to hit them. Once that pain starts hitting you, like a lot of guys just have the reaction to where they just start brawling and start trying to get it over quickly. I think I've always aggressively hunted, but not like I, like I try to use technique and tactics, to put guys down.
now you were at Sturgis with Taylor, the Killer Bee Starlin. What do you think felt like she could have did differently in that match?
Um, yeah, there were a couple of things that we had talked about in camp and stuff like that. Like, here's the thing, yeah, it's a crazy sport, crazy event, crazy fight. Yeah, so the exact thing, the plan was initially for her to start out slow and
Uh-huh.
feel things out. Yeah, but as soon as that first exchange happened, it immediately became she immediately went to war.
Yeah.
That was that was one of the rounds that that was a round that Britain definitely won that first round. She even came back to the corner and she goes, "Well, that didn't work out well." No, no, I just went, "No shit, you want to calm down and start using your and start outboxing this chick." Um, that I think that was probably the round that would have made a difference. Um, but she fought an amazing fight. I have no complaints. She fought her heart out. Fought for a world title and just came up slightly short. I kind of thought I thought we had done it, but yeah, you gotta beat the champ, and there were there were there were two rounds where I know she definitely won, and then there were one that I know Britain definitely won, and then there were two that were just razor thin. It's
Yeah.
and that's just the fight game. Especially when you leave it in the judges hands. But even as a coach, I don't have too much, to where I can be critical. The biggest thing was that first round. But sometimes fighters just need to get it out of their system. Especially in those big moments. As soon as that first contact's made, all of a sudden, you just go to war. But once she started relaxing, using her technique, establishing herself, you know, she, she fought great, and those 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 women put on a hell of a performance.
Yeah, their fights tend to be usually more entertaining than some of the men's because they go the distance every time,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like that last one they had in Kansas City, that Charlene, I think her name's Helner or something. Like, I think she's gonna be a problem for some women in BKFC. I think she's gonna make it to where she probably ends up fighting Christine Ferreira for the belt. It's gonna be a journey, but she looked pretty ferocious out there for a woman.
Oh yeah,
Did you see that one?
I did not catch that one. I saw like a couple of little like highlights and stuff like that, but I didn't really catch that one. Like,
Yeah, she was pretty ferocious with it. How many more years you think you got in the sport?
like my big thing is the moment I start thinking about retirement, I need to retire.
Okay,
Like, so I tend to not really address that question. Like, hell, this is the first loss I've taken in 7 years, I think. You know,
that's pretty good.
so I don't think, I, in this sport, this sport, there's going to be some L's, there's going to be some trips. Like, so I don't think this is a sign, that the end is here. Like, I've, I just won, it wasn't too long ago that I won that world title, and it's, not too long, not too long from now, I'm going to win it back. Like, I'll, I think I'll know when the time is right, but I'm not going to put not going to put a timestamp on it. Like, um, I've already proved most doubters wrong, and of like what you're capable of. Like, the big reason is because I don't stop training. I don't do anything else. I don't have a lot of hobbies. Like, I own my gym, and like my my job is my passion. So I stay in the gym. Like,
That's always good.
after that fight, I was back in the gym the next day. I haven't really taken a break since that fight. Like, since that fight, I let my head rest up a little bit. Like, let my brain heal. Uh, but I don't stop. Like, at my age, I will never get like, if I stop for some reason, I will never get back to where I was. Like, I'm not like at the age I am. Like, I know that. But if I don't stop, that's one of the reason why. Like, I've still been so good. This late in my career.
How do you balance training other fighters and training yourself for a fight?
Um, it's a rough tightrope. Like, like I don't know too many coaches. I don't know too many like world class fighters that also are a head coach and a gym owner. Um, like it's a tough act to to keep. But like the big thing is like I just I just train extra. Like, like I'm doing all the same things that like all my fighters are doing, like, but like more and harder. Like, so like it's just one of those things where I just put in the extra work.
I got a couple more questions, and then we're gonna let you get some shout outs. I'm a dog lover, so what kind of dog you got over there?
He's a mutt. I got my parents actually. Well, my mom runs an animal rescue, Richardson
Okay,
Rescue. So like I've had him since he was about like 8 weeks old. But he's part Dotson, part whatever.
sounds like my dog. Yeah,
Like, yeah, he's a jealous little guy. Like, as soon as I started getting on the podcast, he had to get some attention.
sounds like my dog too. Now, when are we? Can we expect probably your next fight?
um Heck, if they give me the word, it could be tomorrow. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, that's the thing. Like, the only thing I need time for is the weight cut.
Okay,
Like, like a lot of times when I'm in fight camp, I'll train less but more intense. Like, so like it doesn't like I'm one of those guys. Like, I don't need a lot of times longer camps wind up draining me more just because I wind up killing myself for too damn long. So I don't mind short camps. I don't mind little short notice.
yeah, I always hear that's an issue with a lot of fighters is them trying to get their weight down to a certain weight sometimes, and then they get so exhausted by the time they get to the match. Has that ever been a thing for you?
I've got my weight cut down to a science at this
Okay.
point. I especially because, like I said, like I don't take time off. I don't like balloon up. Like it's just like to do it properly. I've got to like because I walk around pretty lean and um, like yeah. So my cut is difficult, but but I like I've got it down to a science now. It just like having enough time to time it right to where something like that doesn't happen is the big issue.
Well, we hit that 30-minute mark. I know you got a busy schedule, man. Like you said, you training every day of your life, and that's what's up, man. I mean, a lot more people need to put more discipline and that dedication in their lives, and I think it'll go further. Before we go, anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, just all my people at my gym, Modern Warrior MMA, right in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I've got, some phenomenal fighters there, great atmosphere. There's a reason why we've been so much successful, and it's just the one team, one family motto is not really a motto. It's just kind of how we live, how we operate. So just everybody at the gym, they're family.
Well, I appreciate you taking your time out, man. It's a truly an honor, man. You're a friend of the show now, so anytime you ever want to come back on, please do. As soon as I get off here, I'm gonna start clipping up some clips and make sure I promote them heavy, man. And I'm can't wait to see your next fight, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll be back on anytime.
All right, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, man.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Uh,
Well, there you go, Keith, the Rockstar Richardson. Recently lost the belt, but like he said, he wants to get that belt back. He's hoping one fight. And I'm thinking it shouldn't be too many fights either, man. BKC don't need to play politics with this one. Maybe the loser of this Blas and Reber match, maybe Ibarola, Garcia. I don't know, man, but definitely check him out for his next fight. I'm gonna be tuned in. Can't wait. Appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Paul Pickett Podcast. And I'm out. Peace. See you later.